In the unfolding mystery surrounding the interstellar object known as 3I Atlas, one of the most extraordinary revelations in recent months has been growing evidence that the visitor is not traveling alone. Instead, scientists studying its behavior throughout November 2025 now believe that a swarm of companion objects is following closely behind it, subtly influencing its appearance and the strange teardrop-shaped light that has puzzled astronomers since it passed the sun. The earliest clues came from images taken after perihelion, when telescopes captured Atlas with a distinctly elongated coma. Instead of the symmetrical cloud formation seen in natural comets, its coma stretched into a wispy, narrow extension that pointed almost directly toward the sun. This teardrop-shaped structure, which stretched about an arc-minute across the sky, suggested that something unusual was shaping the surrounding dust and reflective material. At the same time, researchers monitoring Atlas through the Jet Propulsion Laboratory's Horizon Array reported a weak but steady non-gravitational acceleration acting on the object. The magnitude of this force, measured as a fraction of about 1/210,000 times the sun's gravitational force, behaved strangely as Atlas moved closer to or farther from the sun. The non-gravitational acceleration is proportional to the inverse square of the heliocentric distance, the relationship that governs the sun's gravitational force. This meant that the ratio between the two accelerations remained constant throughout its orbit, fundamentally changing the way the object moved through space. This observation alone raises many questions, but the implications become even more profound when researchers consider what would happen if Atlas were surrounded by many smaller objects that don't share this unusual acceleration. If the main object were nudged even slightly away from the sun, the swarm wouldn't be able to follow its altered orbit. Instead, they would remain slightly closer to the sun, drifting in front of the object's sunward side, creating a persistent tail-to-tail geometry. To understand the scale of this distance, the astronomers applied the fraction to Atlas's current heliocentric distance, which in November was about 270 million kilometers from the sun. Their calculations showed that any companion would drift about 54,000 kilometers closer to the sun than the primary, a distance equivalent to an angular separation of about 0.7 arc-minutes. Remarkably, this value matches the observed expansion of the teardrop-shaped shell, suggesting that the bright light directed toward the sun is not just the product of material evaporating from Atlas itself, but also the reflection of sunlight from an entire cloud of nearby objects. The hypothetical size of the galaxy swarm surrounding Atlas opens up a startling prospect, although each object has only a tiny fraction of the mass. Their combined reflecting surface area could completely overwhelm the central object. Assuming just 1 trillion tiny fragments, each with almost negligible mass, the combined reflecting surface area could be more than 100 times larger than Atlas. In that case, up to 99% of the light observed from the cometary cloud would actually come from the satellite swarm rather than from the nucleus itself. This matches remarkably well with the Hubble Space Telescope image taken on July 21, 2025, in which the Atlas nucleus contributes only a tiny fraction of the total brightness. Even more impressive is the persistence of this phenomenon. Because the anti-gravitational acceleration is proportional to the sun's gravitational field, the structure of the swarm remains stable throughout its orbit, regardless of whether Atlas is moving toward or away from the sun. The angle of inclination is almost constant, making the teardrop shape not a fleeting moment, but rather a permanent sign of the connection between the central body and its elusive companions surrounding it, suggesting a sophisticated interaction mechanism that current dynamical models are only beginning to touch on. If these fragments do exist, they pose a series of questions that challenge the imagination. Are they natural rocks that fell from the sky millennia ago? Or are they durable elements of a larger structure that we cannot yet imagine? And more profoundly, as some researchers have quietly suggested, do they reveal something beyond the familiar? A cluster of non-volatile objects arranged with an uncanny order, as if serving some unknown purpose. In recent hours, social media has exploded with rumors that 3i Atlas has sent a message to Earth. Initially, it was just a small community chatter. But the uncanny coincidence with new telescope data shared internally has caused the story to spread rapidly, fueling suspicions that something major has just happened. On June 5, 2025, SETI confirmed that it had picked up a narrowband radio signal from the direction of Kepler 442b, a potentially habitable exoplanet 1, 200 light years from Earth. Unlike the countless previous noises, this signal repeated periodically, containing sophisticated modulation patterns that suggested a form of coded language beyond any natural phenomenon. During a press conference, Dr. Lena Ramani admitted that the signal bore signs of intelligence, but the broadcast was abruptly cut off before she could finish. The unnatural silence that followed only fueled suspicions. On June 7, an anonymous account posted to an underground forum what was said to be internal NASA documents, containing extremely complex technical data signal spectra, coding models, and even AI translations. The supposedly decoded message was shocking. We have been watching. We come in cycles. You are not alone. Be prepared. The information spread in just a few hours before the entire post. Account. And links suddenly disappeared on June 9. Even the screenshots were gone, further fueling the belief that something was indeed being hidden. On June 11, the White House acknowledged the unusual communications, but denied the source was intelligent, warning against false rumors. But by an incredible coincidence, NASA's Deep Space Network also went under maintenance. The SETI website restricted access, and the Allen Telescope Array live stream disappeared. Meanwhile, a whistleblower using the alias Jake revealed that Earth was not only receiving the signals, but was also sending responses and receiving other messages, all of which bore the hallmarks of intelligence. He said the content was not a threat, but an invitation. Despite what was supposed to be the discovery of the century, the mainstream media has been strangely silent, articles have been pulled, podcasts have been deleted. Scientists have retracted their statements. Neil deGrasse Tyson briefly commented that the first contact might be strangely normal, then deleted it immediately. While public skepticism still simmers, what is hidden seems to be much larger than what has been revealed. As the months passed, the skies began to show signs that were hard to explain. On June 15, amateur astronomers in Chile, Japan, and Canada simultaneously recorded flashes of light coming from the direction of Kepler 442b. Unlike supernovae or stellar explosions, which are chaotic and irregular, the flashes were clearly purposeful. 3 flashes, then 6, then 3, repeating regularly about every 19 hours. Many immediately linked the 363 signal sequence to the original transmissions. Others suggested It could be a countdown or a secondary communication method. The lack of confirmation from major observatories deepened the mystery. As governments and professional organizations remained silent, the collective investigation spread across social media, encrypted channels, and amateur skywatching networks. Each new recording was analyzed in real time, but no official acknowledgement emerged. For those who had been watching from the beginning, a timeline emerged, a structured signal was received. A portion of it was decoded into an understandable message. Earth sent a response, and then more responses were received. Then came a visible effort to withdraw, restrict, or erase the information from the public sphere. The word prepare in the decoded message has become a point of contention. Prepare for what? Some believe it is a warning of an approaching entity. Others believe it is an invitation to dialogue, a sign that humanity is being brought into the larger community. A smaller group worries that it is a warning of a change in the cycle, suggesting that the intelligence sending the signal has done this many times before, always watching, always returning on a schedule unknown to humans. The 363 flashes were seen as evidence that the message was no longer just a radio signal, but had been transformed into a visual signal. The sophistication of this dual transmission led many to believe that it could not be a natural phenomenon. When combined with the claim that a response from Earth had been received and recorded, the chain of events became even harder to dismiss. In this context, the silence of official institutions becomes almost a message in itself, withdrawing access, restricting data. And avoiding public mention only convinces those who have seen the evidence that something truly is being hidden. Rather than quelling speculation, this silence makes the public believe that humanity is on the verge of a much larger truth, and that governments do not yet know how to contain its impact. The events of June 2025 thus became a pivotal moment in human history. For centuries, we dared only imagine the possibility of receiving a message from the stars. No one expected it to be so clear, so repetitive, so structured that it could not be denied, nor could it be so quickly obscured. But the fact remains, a signal arrived. It was decoded. Earth responded, and the response was received. Though it doesn't appear on television or on the front pages of newspapers, the truth is there in the accounts of observers, in documents that briefly leaked before being erased, and in the word prepare that still resonates as a reminder of something that is getting closer by the day. A video that has gone viral on social media has captured a giant object breaking through the clouds, quickly going viral and attracting the attention of researchers. The person who filmed it, who was on a flight from Bogotá to Medellín, said that when he looked out the window, he saw a strange structure in the distance. He immediately turned on the camera, claiming that the object was clearly visible even from a great distance, and described it as a giant mass with 4 arms rising from the clouds. He also emphasized that he was very familiar with the terrain of the area and affirmed that the site was unlike any mountain he had ever seen, especially since the plane was at high altitude and there was no sign of mountainous terrain below. The video has sparked a flurry of debate. Some have suggested the object is simply a mountain poking through the clouds, though determining altitude in a landscape where the clouds range from 3,000 to 18,000 meters is extremely difficult. Others have dismissed the theory, saying the 4-arm shape does not fit with any known terrain features in the area. The aerial view of the footage has also left some viewers expressing genuine amazement, describing the site as a giant structure hidden in the clouds as both obvious and unbelievable. However, Many skeptics believe that the person filming may have misjudged the direction of flight, and that the object is just an optical illusion due to clouds partially covering the mountainside, creating a strange shape. No further official information has been released yet, leaving the video as an unsolved mystery in a series of unusual phenomena that are causing the whole world to ask questions. UFO sightings, especially near aircraft, have long been a source of curiosity and debate. Numerous first-hand accounts from pilots, crew members, and passengers describe strange objects with varied shapes, illogical movements, and flight abilities that seem to defy all known laws of physics. It is these consistent accounts that have created a persistent layer of mystery around the UFO phenomenon. A picture that suggests something unusual is silently moving in our skies. In particular, the testimony of pilots is always considered the most reliable. With extensive experience and the ability to clearly distinguish between natural phenomena and traditional aircraft, they often describe UFOs moving with signs of intentional control, changing speed and direction suddenly, far beyond any existing aircraft. These encounters take place under normal flight conditions, training exercises, or military missions, increasing the level of reliability. Many pilots emphasize that these objects do not follow normal inertia, but behave as if they possess completely superior technology. One of the most famous occurred in 2004, when U.S. Navy pilots encountered a UFO off the coast of California. The object they observed had no wings, no propellers, no exhaust, just hovering and accelerating in a way no human aircraft could. The encounter, confirmed by multiple witnesses, became one of the most widely documented UFO sightings of the century. The event prompted extensive investigations and raised the enduring question, were we facing a natural phenomenon that was not yet fully understood? Or were we witnessing the first traces of an alien technology? The mystery of unidentified flying objects hovering around aircraft is no longer the realm of rumor or urban legend. They have quietly entered the secret archives of many governments. And more importantly, some of them have been forced to be made public by those very agencies. When the United States and several other countries suddenly declassified documents that had been sealed for decades, the world realized that seemingly unofficial encounters were being monitored, recorded, and analyzed with a level of seriousness rarely seen. These files reveal something unexpected. Government agencies viewed the UFO phenomenon not as a hoax or a myth, but as a genuine airspace security issue, important enough to trigger detailed reporting, trajectory simulations, and potential threat assessments. The declassification reveals a network of surveillance and response operations that operated quietly for years, demonstrating that the encounters were unusual and persistent enough to be ignored by even the most powerful agencies. It is here that the biggest question begins to weigh. If governments that once denied the existence of UFOs were finally forced to open their classified documents, what made them change their minds? And what in these files was so extraordinary that they had no choice but to admit at least part of the truth? The pieces that have been revealed are still unanswered, but they are enough to create a chilling impression that what is publicly revealed is only the first layer of the surface, and that deeper things may still lie behind closed doors that the public has never been allowed to see. UFO encounters with aircraft continue to be one of the most puzzling puzzles of modern science, forcing researchers to take the phenomenon more seriously than ever. Physicists, aerospace engineers, and data analysts have been working to decipher the mechanics of these objects' absurd flight instantaneous accelerations, inertial turns, and speeds far beyond the capabilities of jet engines. The more they study, the more they realize that these observations not only challenge current knowledge, but also reveal troubling gaps in our understanding of flight dynamics. A bold but increasingly discussed hypothesis is the possibility that UFOs are extraterrestrial vehicles or drones with technology centuries ahead of our own. Proponents of this view argue that only unconventional forms of propulsion, such as gravitational manipulation, large-scale electromagnetic effects, or as yet undiscovered physical principles, can explain maneuvers that seem to defy the laws of nature. The hypothesis may seem daring, but it underscores an unavoidable truth. Our current understanding of physics may still only scratch the surface of a much larger science. However, some more cautious scientists have raised the possibility that some of the UFO sightings could be due to rare atmospheric phenomena such as optical illusions, heat inversions, light bending, or complex refraction conditions that make the objects appear to be moving erratically. These explanations are plausible in some cases, but they quickly fall apart when confronted with the testimony of experienced pilots who read the sky like a map and are not easily fooled by lighting effects. It is this contrast between the two explanations, one based on traditional science and the other on expanding the boundaries of human perception, that creates the strange suspense that surrounds the UFO phenomenon. Each new fact, each new video, each new testimony makes the picture both familiar and alien, as if we are standing at the door opening to a completely new chapter of physics or of another civilization. One particularly stunning aspect of the UFO phenomenon is the extraordinary level of maneuverability they consistently display, far surpassing that of any fighter jet or any other modern military vehicle in the possession of mankind. These objects not only accelerate instantly, change direction without inertia, or hover despite strong winds. They do so with a chilling ease, as if a completely different set of physical rules apply. It is this anomaly that has forced scientists to consider possibilities that were previously only speculative. One of the most daring theories suggests that UFOs may be propelled by propulsion mechanisms beyond our current understanding, possibly involving manipulation of gravitational fields or the fabric of space-time. If true, this would mean that UFOs do not fly in the traditional sense, but rather traverse space, bypassing the limitations of drag, friction, or aerodynamic pressure. This could be a sign of technology from another civilization, or a top-secret program the world has never heard of. Whatever the possibility, it would challenge the laws of physics that are considered fundamental. Another line of analysis revolves around electromagnetic propulsion. The theory is that UFOs can use the Earth's magnetic field or create their own to navigate, gliding through the atmosphere without the need for jet engines. While human technology has only scratched the surface of this idea, it is not hard to imagine that an advanced society, extraterrestrial or not, could have mastered the control of electromagnetic propulsion, allowing for near-perfect maneuverability. The materials used to make UFOs could also be key. Some experts speculate that the objects could be made from ultra-strong, ultralight materials, or have unprecedented nanostructures that allow them to withstand extreme accelerations without breaking. Such materials, if they exist, would open a whole new chapter in material science, far surpassing any alloy or composite currently available. All of these theories, while still in the realm of science and the unknown, have one thing in common. They suggest that UFOs operate on principles that we cannot yet simulate. not that we cannot. And it is in that small gap between the known and the yet to be discovered that the mysteries become breathtakingly fascinating. Strangely, some researchers have noticed that unidentified objects seem to have an interest in passenger planes, with some even noting that mysterious objects have been seen following planes for minutes at a time. One potential explanation for UFOs' attraction to aircraft could be their attraction to advanced technology. If we consider UFOs to be extraterrestrial in origin or highly advanced human creations, it makes sense that they would be curious about Earth's technological advancements. Notably, aircraft, especially commercial and military aircraft, represent some of the most complex innovations ever built by humans. They are testaments to our technological prowess, boasting advanced propulsion systems and state-of-the-art avionics. If this trend continues, it is possible that these mysterious objects are quietly assessing the progress of humanity, or even preparing for a more profound form of contact in the future. Whether their purpose is observation, investigation, or something else entirely. It is clear that we are on the threshold of a story much larger than previously imagined. Why do you think UFOs are interested in our planes? Leave a comment below and share your views. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next updates on this journey to explore the mysteries of the universe.